Welcome to the Tibet Center here at 151 West 30th Street, 3rd floor. We will begin by reciting the prayer for the spreading of the teaching throughout the length and breadth of the West. You can find it in the FAQ section on the Tibet Center's website. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems, and of our truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West. For all the people living there, together with their near ones, who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them, may all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dhamma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness, may they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once, the Blessed One was in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi, which examines the Dharmas called profound illumination. At the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, "How should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge?" And Avalokiteshvara answered, "Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is not separate from form, form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Thus all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no dharmas from ignorance to old age and death, nor are they wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the Bodhisattvas guide by means of transcendent knowledge, and since there is no spirit of decline, they have no fear. They transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All of the Buddhists who dwell in the past, present, and future, by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awakened to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequal mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed, Kayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhisattva. O Shariputra, this is how Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised the Bodhisattva Mahasattva
their whole gathering in the world with its gods, humans, assurance, and Kamalas, their hearts full of joy, praise the words of the Blessed One.
Now we generate bodhicitta. With the wish
To free all beings,
I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, and may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel all the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Okay, let's begin with one rosary of Om Mani Padme Hum, where you work at developing the wish to remove the suffering of all others. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. So, I wrote all sorts of notes down. Today is December 1st. Hmm?
It's World AIDS Day in November.
So, yesterday was November 30th. Today is, we reached December. November is finished. the whole idea of we feel that December was in the future. Now we're there. We're in December. We are experiencing December. We have reached December. Can you? Thank you. December 1st is nearly finished. Moment by moment it goes, and then we get to December 2nd. And while we're in December 1st, we think, oh, we've reached December. Here we are on the 1st of December, and we sort of invest in the fact that we're in the month of December. But like November, December, every moment is diminishing. December is no longer complete. The month of December has already begun to not be there. And moment by moment, this entity that we identify as December will go, and then December will be finished. And this momentary nature of life is something that we can't perceive. It's something that happens at a subtle level. We can deduce from just thinking about it. We can arrive at the conclusion that it's momentary, and therefore it is impermanent. Can momentariness be a valid proof of impermanence?
You mean that as a sign? What's the predicate? Or what's the thesis?
Can, without getting involved in theses,
Yes.
can momentariness be used as a proof of impermanence?
I think so.
The subject, the watch, is impermanent because it is momentary.
Except.
So one can have a perception of the momentary quality of the watch without having a perception of the impermanent nature of the watch.
I don't think so.
Then it can't be a valid proof, because it wouldn't be bringing about. So in order to actually develop a realization of impermanence, we have to do so by means of logic. We have to do so by means of an inference. We have to infer the impermanence of, let's say, the 1st of December. And we have to do so by understanding that impermanence is that there are qualities of impermanence which, if we recognize, we will see that the 1st of December is impermanent. What would be a proof for establishing the impermanence of the 1st of December?
It is impermanent because it's a product.
And how is the 1st of December produced?
It's produced by the 30th of November.
Oh, really?
January 30th is produced June 1st.
I think so.
You think so? That'll stand up in the debating court. So, understanding that something is a product, understanding that something is produced of parts. Understanding that something is produced as a result of causes, that will help establish a lack of permanence to the object. And so if you can use, if you can use this, if you can think about the way in which a day is composed of elements, moments of time, you can see that it is therefore not permanent as one time. It is composed of all these little moments. So I think that momentariness does actually bring about a realization of the momentary nature, the definition, does bring about a realization of the definiendum, the impermanence. In other words, we can say, oh, today, the momentary nature of the 1st of December leads me to understand that the 1st of December is impermanent, is disintegrating moment by moment. And that is the only way that we will really understand the momentary nature of December 1st or December or whatever the product is. And it's something to think about. It's not, this is not just a sort of random conceptual thing that I'm throwing out. That momentary, perceiving the momentary nature of time helps us really take hold of each moment and do something of value with it. If we don't think about time, if we just take it for granted, we won't make valuable use of it. So thinking about this, and we mustn't think that thinking like this is a waste of time either. The perceiving this momentary nature is a really, really important way of breaking down our misconception of the way things exist. We honestly believe that things, this table, we think that we've set it up and it sits here in a permanent fashion until we take it apart and put it away, without recognizing that the table that was set up at, let's say, 6:30, that table doesn't exist anymore, and that it's existed in time. There have been these series of moments of the existence of table, each of which is the cause of the next moment of table, and that the table that I'm sitting at right now has already gone, now has already gone, now has, each moment of table is the cause of the next moment of table. That quality of impermanence is something to really bring into our consciousness, really develop an awareness of. This cup, which you put in front of me full, is no longer full.
It ran it over.
Is it half full?
It ran it over.
No, it's more than half full, but it's no longer full.
You'll be full.
And, sorry?
You'll be full.
I will. So our lives are like that. And that was an interesting sound to that statement.
That's
Yes.
a big thing. Yes, you're right.
We live in the moment. We experience the moment without really having true awareness of the momentary nature of our lives. Yes, every year life becomes more painful. Yes, the knees hurt more. Yes, all sorts of things that we can see. But the momentary nature, the subtle impermanence of ourselves is really important to focus on. The fact that it's not just that the 30th of November is finished. November is finished. It's gone. And it's not just that December 1st is nearly gone, but it's that there's not a moment that we can hold on to. There's not a moment of time that we can actually preserve. There's not a moment of time that we can actually point at, because a moment of time is made up of, there's the prior moment, and then there's the next moment. And in between is now, and the now is gone right away. If you look at you can break down the moments, the now moment, more and more. You can think that the now moment is, they talk about a 60th of a snap of a finger. They talk about a 260th of a snap of a finger. These are increments of time that some meditators are able to identify and say, that is a moment of time. That is an actual segment or moment, each one of which goes into the next moment of time, a 60th or a 260th of a snap of a finger. Each moment becomes the cause of the next moment of the series of moments of time. And they meet, but they have an existence. That is a segment of time. Of course, the argument is that each segment of time has the beginning of that segment and the end of that segment. So you have the part that touches the previous moment, and there's the part that touches the next moment. Therefore, it has two sides, two parts. Each part has a previous moment and a next. There's no way, theoretically, that you could break down time to an entity. The whole concept of what we would call an independent moment of time, if you really analyze it, so is there no time?
No inherent time.
No, but is there no identifiable moment of time?
Only convention of duration.
Can you point at a moment of time that's like a segment that is an entity
When you
without
think it's already gone.
The best I can do is a photograph.
a photograph?
You hit the nerve.
That's the best I can do.
Good one, Robbie.
You could shot at
A still photograph.
a 30th of a second, a 60th of a second, a 125th of a second, a 250th of a second, a 500th of a second, a 1000th of a second, a 2000th of a second, a 4000th. Which one is a moment of time? Is each?
All of the above. Yeah, because you would then say the metric would be the metric you confined it to. But it's not like the absolute moment of time. It would just be this is the best I got kind of a measurement. It's like you don't have a ruler, but you have like your foot maybe.
Yes. So, yes, we can say, when photographing, I shot this at a 60th of a second, and that photograph represents a 60th of a second. And you could shoot it at a 125th of a second. And you could shoot 4 of them at a 250th of a second.
That's likely.
You
The
open
idea
up-
of all this is because we overlay a sense of permanence on things without thinking, and that's getting us into trouble.
So,
God forbid.
so that permanent quality that we overlay on things leads, and why is it a problem?
Because you're dealing in unreality. You're thinking things are gonna last when they're not. On a gross level, you know, we think this house is never gonna deteriorate, this bridge is already okay, things like that. We're always young until we take it. You know, that's the problem. I would think. Not so much the scientific measure.
So the developing a realistic perception
That's the word, realistic perception.
is really important. And it's not, the thing about impermanence is that it is not evident. We will not see it. I mean, we can look at our
Yeah.
watch, we can watch the little second hand tick by, but, and that's useful. That gets us to,
We can't verify it by the senses, in other words, by sense data. We have to infer.
that's, yeah, what you're referring to is subtle impermanence. But even just
You're not gross enough. We could-
coming to realize that, I woke up this morning and that's gone. And I had lunch, and that's gone. And I walked, and that's gone. And
You run into someone you knew?
That's just, that always,
Well, the gross impermanence is made up of the subtle impermanence. And it's falling, so this thing didn't just fall apart moment by moment. It was falling apart.
so I went to see someone who announced to me that she's 100 years old.
Really?
And she said that she'll be 101 in February. And then I was out in the street and, yes, someone said, hello. And it was someone
I feel better now.
who, when I was, I suppose, in my late teens, I think I was in boarding school and I was photographing. And during the summer, I had a darkroom in our house. And this woman asked me to photograph her newborn baby, who was like 6 months old, or 5 months old. And I bumped into this woman who said, hello. And I said, hello. And she said, I'm here with my mother. And her mother is the woman who asked me to photograph her when she was 6 months old, nearly 60 years ago, 5, 6 years ago. And it was very moving to see these two people who, and the mother told me that she's now 91, and the daughter is 57 or 56. I photographed her when she was 6 months old, so that many years ago. And and the daughter whom I photographed when she was this little baby told me that her daughter is now 29. So all of these things are useful. All of these things are helpful. All of these things help us understand this movement of time, and understanding and noticing and being aware of impermanence is breaking the ignorant way that we view the world. Now, impermanence is not the ultimate perception that we're working towards, arriving at. But it's a really important stepping stone. The more we recognize subtle impermanence, the more we break down the sort of gross, objective reality, or our perception of things, of people, of ourselves possessing some kind of gross objective existence. And that gross objective existent quality that we really invest in is the source of all our misery, all our unhappiness, all our suffering, all our problems. Everything comes from that belief in ourselves is what causes us to behave in the ways that then cause us problems. No one objects to that?
No, no one objects.
So how
I-
does the belief in that cause us problems?
The belief in permanence?
Holding on to an objectively true, real.
Because we think there's objectively real sources of happiness and objectively real sources of suffering.
Yes. And within that assumption, you can't change it.
The more I believe in me, the more I believe in my deserving, my, the more I act in ways that karmically are eventually going to cause me problems. I mean, the arisal of the pride that I may feel, the impatience that I may act upon, the anger that may come out as a result of that, the desire for things, the dislike of certain people or certain things, all of those things are the result of my holding on to a sense of self. And all of those actions will then grow into future problems, more of the same of all those afflictive emotions, and more of the results of those afflictive emotions, the outer challenges to my happiness. You believe that stuff?
We have no choice when the Buddhist class. We have to recite the party line.
But we've taken a step up in permanence now.
By recognizing that the me, this self, it doesn't have quite the solidity that we thought it did because it exists momentarily.
Yeah, we don't think that reflexively. Me has to be, same me as last week.
But then I think about what is this thing that is who's the phantom behind the awareness?
Who is the phantom behind?
It feels like a phantom, this consciousness thing, that's also impermanent, just a collection of conditions and moments and memories held together by something, this mind.
Well, so what is it held together by?
I'm assuming this mind, but
Assumption.
You are, who's this you who's assuming anything?
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Who's trying to figure it out? And the mind that has been answering my questions is momentary. So each moment of mind finishes. Then there's the next moment of mind. So do you think that there's a possessor of all these moments of mind? He does.
It kind of, but it doesn't, it's more like a recorder.
You can't find it if you look.
There's a recorder.
Can't find it.
Well, wait, but
But it's not.
if there's a recorder, then that's an entity which records, that holds on to
It's the liar.
all these moments of mind. Where is that? Up.
The kunji.
It's already flashed out of existence, but it's just like,
Don't they have these new, what are they, something farms where they hold on to information?
Data
Uh,
farms?
Data farms, is that right?
In the cloud,
it's in the cloud.
it's all in the cloud.
And the cloud is
When it
up?
rains,
The cloud is,
you lose all your
Cloud
data.
is in a warehouse in Missouri.
The cloud is just in
A warehouse in
The
Missouri.
rent's going up.
And for some reason, they need a lot of water, is that right?
to cool it, to cool it.
That's the Kool-Aid that we...
We're drinking it. Delicious Kool-Aid.
So, how do they cool it in Missouri?
Exactly. That's funny. It's like a Broadway show. What is it?
What's the question?
How do they cool it in Missouri? What's the cooling agent that they use for cooling? So it's not in
They
the
use
cloud,
people from
it's in
Chicago,
Missouri.
they
The
keep-
cloud is located situated in servers in a remote location rather than, for example,
Times Square.
in the Tibet Center server room, if there was a server room.
Where's the server room at the Tibet Center, Darren?
Bathroom.
So, getting back to this entity which records all these moments, we have to look for it. We have to determine whether or not such a thing does or can exist. But even if it does exist, it is only, each moment of it is also impermanent. It is also momentary. There may be some recording mechanism, but that recording mechanism moves along with the moments that it is
The
recording.
observer is also impermanent.
Right. That's why I was lately been thinking of it kind of like a phantom, just keeps, it's no form, no shape, just aware.
But just aware is momentary. Just aware, each moment of just aware causes the next moment of just aware. So there's no thing that you can point at it as being just aware. So that each moment is the cause of the next moment of just aware. Just aware is made up of a lot of moments. So just aware depends on causes, depends on parts. What else does just aware depend on?
Designated. The designator.
And who's doing the designation?
That's a good point. That's it. Where is I? Can't find it. Where is I?
Back in the mid-late 70s, His Holiness the 16th Karmapa came to the States. I thought through the auspices of someone named Werner Erhard of Est. And in Est, they described the mind as a linear arrangement of multi-sensory total records of now. So it was similar without going into impermanence.
So say this is,
Linear.
A linear arrangement of multi-sensory total records of now.
so each moment of now has all those things.
Right. Everything that you might perceive, everything that you might.
And what happens the moment after now?
It's another now. So it's now.
The eternal
So the
now.
mind is like,
So
Somebody wrote a book on
do those moments of now have a certain completeness?
they're identified by the experience.
quality of the
As
moment.
self.
What,
So tell me about the experiencer. Where is he, she?
Lost in those multi-sensory total records, going from
No, but those are mental, right? I'm talking about the physical person.
the physical person,
Hmm. In Missouri, was it Missouri?
the master. The person is decaying as they sit, or stand, or lie.
But they have this mind that
They have
is
this mind
that has
is
these qualities.
experiencing these multi-sensory total records,
Yeah.
and thinking that there's a reality there,
Which they are experiencing.
which they're experiencing, and they're identifying with.
So I'm interested in the they. Tell me more about the person, the experience. So, no, but this is something to think about. In other words, everything that we've talked about today is stuff to think about, to break down. When we sit on the subway, we can think about the fact that we have moved along just the way we do in life, moment by moment. And the moment of being on 86th Street is gone, and the moment of being on 72nd Street is gone. I took the subway down, the Q train, and then we got to 59th Street. Gone, 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 gone.
But now the difference between those moments and the cup has a physicality.
Yeah.
In those moments, you're surrounded by some physicality, but the moments are ephemeral,
But
intangible.
they're intangible, but
Designated.
those.
I mean, the subway car doesn't seem to have changed, right? The
Yeah.
doors have opened and closed. The lights
Hopefully.
might have flickered.
Flickered.
Right? But the entity of the subway that you're in seems to not have changed very much.
Yeah, but
Right?
the subway has changed within time, each moment of the existence of subway is the cause of the next moment of the existence of subway. And each moment of the existence of Jane is the cause of the next moment of existence of Jane, so that the physical
Which
and
moment
mental.
are you referring to?
Right, and even
Moment
the
number
ending of
425.
the experience of Jane will transition through moments of diminishment until what? It ends.
What ends?
The entity of Jane. There's in illness or.
Who's gonna send the notice?
What?
You'll be, never mind.
No, right now there seems to be a physicality of Jane without any mishaps or.
God willing.
Right, you're right, it's just a matter of time that the functionality no longer functions.
So, but we're talking here, I mean, that's one aspect, that's what we call gross impermanence. But the subtle impermanence, which is what we've been talking about today, is the fact that the Jane of this morning doesn't exist. The Jane of midday doesn't exist. The Jane who walked into the classroom doesn't exist. The Jane of the beginning of this conversation. But each moment of Jane exists. However, we can't actually identify it because we can break it down and break it down and break it down to the point where it's just moving along. And this is when we work towards arriving at a realization that things don't have the substantial, objective existence that we think they do, that I don't have the substantial, objective existence that I think I do, that begins to undermine, that begins to dissolve this sense of me that is the cause of all my problems.
That's assumption. He's trying to point out that a sense of ourselves is a false assumption when we logically read it out. Wait, why do I think that way? But so habitual that we fall right back into it. I mean, I do, I don't know anybody else.
Tea is finished.
Empty.
Finito.
There was a whole cup of tea in front of me, and
So what you're saying
impermanence, and things change moment by moment, subtle, and it's a product, so it's cause and effect when it depends on the arising nature. Just that reflecting on it, we can come to, not reality, but come to understanding that the object or me doesn't exist from their own side because it's changing moment by moment.
So it doesn't exist from its own side is already a whole new step. We have to, once we've identified the momentary nature, we can begin to look, how does it exist? And eventually recognize that, when you think of a car, and we identify a car as having, 4 wheels and a... Tony has a lot of experience in this. We look and we say, that's a car. And then let's say we take a wheel off. It's still a car. And we take 2 wheels off, and it's still a car. We take all 4 wheels off, it's still a car. We say, that's a car with no wheels, but it's a car. And then we take the front, what is it called, the hood, the front end off. It's a car without a front end. And then we take the back end off, and we say, well, that's a car with a back end.
Darren has pictures to prove this.
And then we get down to just the axle, and then you have the steering thing and the
chassis.
At some point, we'll say, well, that's not a car anymore, that's just a chassis. So we've gone from the car to the chassis, and there's some point where we stop identifying this thing as a car, and we start identifying it as a chassis. So it's the carness, that quality of carness no longer appears to us. Suddenly it's chassiness. And so by thinking that way, we can realize that actually that element of carness and then coming to chassiness is something that we put onto those parts. It's not that there's some element of carness that is gone, it's just that the basis for my naming it car has changed to the point where I don't call it a car anymore.
Yeah, someone else said, you put these parts together, when does it become a car? When you say it is, more or less. Now it's a car. I guess. That's interesting. So, what about the self? When we say it's an I, that's difficult. You gotta think that one out.
But how does the subtle impermanence relate to that analysis? So we could apply that analysis to subtle impermanence also.
Go ahead.
So when we talk about subtle impermanence, we're talking about momentariness.
Yeah.
So then we might say, what is a moment, as we've done? We won't be able to pinpoint the moment.
Yeah.
So if subtle impermanence depends on some sense of moment, and we can't identify that moment, then there's no ultimate subtle impermanence.
Yeah, so it's imputed. That moment, the whole notion that we can't actually point at a moment means that we are imputing momentariness onto a series of moments which we can't actually, whatever it is, we can never quite, a physical object, we can never quite point at a part that holds up its part identity, because that part has parts, and those parts have parts, and those parts have parts, and you can never quite get to.
But is there a way in which the understanding of subtle impermanence helps us understand emptiness?
Totally. Just as time is, or that momentariness, the permanent quality that we impute upon things is broken down by understanding their impermanence, that leads us to an understanding of their non-objectively, non-independently existent quality.
It had that solidity, would always be there. But it doesn't.
We had a dear Tibet Center member, Bill Kamen, who was convinced that a realization of impermanence was a realization of emptiness.
Right.
And we used to say, an actual experience of the impermanence of something is not an experience of the emptiness of something. It will lead to, and someone could take it as a valid or a reason for which would induce a realization of the emptiness of something, but that realization of impermanence has not negated a realization or a perception of the inherent existence of something, of that thing.
The realization of subtle impermanence does not
Not the
necessarily
realization of
negate
it.
its inherent.
It's not a weird experience of emptiness, right? The argument with Bill went on and on.
So this is a realization of impermanence, the fact that we are getting older and we're going to die, is really important in our practice. It's one of the things that motivates us to practice. The recognition of our subtle impermanence, that momentary nature of ourselves, begins to break down our grasping at a sense of me and helps develop that recognition of the emptiness of self.
Doesn't subtle impermanence ultimately morph into gross impermanence?
Well, we would normally think of it the other way around. Gross impermanence a greater understanding of gross impermanence will lead us to subtle, yeah,
But things can only be grossly impermanent if there is
subtle impermanence.
So
It's a flow. It's always moving.
So there's this I, we can't find it, it doesn't inherently exist, but it still has grasping. There's still something, still has grasping,
Right.
still something kind of holding it
Still does it.
in its, you know, when we're saying the words and stuff, and we're not just like over the hump, so what's next? Are we?
We think about these things. We think about them. We bring so I should say that the Tibet Center has been focusing on secular ethics. Our marching orders have been to really think about, work at cultivating secular ethics. The person who's working on developing secular ethics, when we start to think about ourselves as we go through life, the entity who's behaving in maybe the less ethically good way that we're working at whose ethics we're working at improving, we can begin to consider who that person is, and recognizing that the ego, the sense of self that leads us to act in non-ethical ways, we can work at analyzing that and seeing how it exists. And that analysis itself will begin to diminish the force of its ego centricity.
he never challenged the ego before until he got this instruction, the Buddha's instruction. And that's the way things are, aren't they? And he's saying no. I think he's saying the same thing.
I have a question. We talked about time and moment by moment just goes and goes, but so future doesn't exist here because future is not here, but the past is gone, so it doesn't exist here. And also moment is it's gone. So how do we exist?
So that's something to think about. That's something to really bring into your, as you go through life, as you get on the subway, get off the subway. How do I exist? It's something to really consider. Instead of my saying we exist this way, because I'm not capable of doing so, I say, think about it. And think about it over, a year, 2 years, 3 years, and just think about who's the person who's existing, and you'll see it from different points of view. You'll consider it in different ways. You'll have different epiphanies. And then the epiphany will be knocked. The subway doors will hit you and you'll think, oh, I was hit. There's some me that was hit. And then you start to look at what that me might be.
Is that how a bodhisattva would expand and become like a field of merit?
What?
I gotta find a better way to articulate this. I'm thinking like, if you were to have these realizations, like a bodhisattva would have all these realizations and these steps, then they could expand that consciousness into maybe a field of merit. Is that how we get to these fields of merit?
I don't know. The bodhisattva is working on himself or herself, working at diminishing his or her sense of ego, self, and working at developing a concern for others with the aim of attaining full enlightenment to most effectively help others.
That kind of contemplation, would it be called an ultimate analysis?
I don't know.
And if we engage in those kind of contemplations, should we also consider contemplations that do establish everyday existence in balance?
I don't know. You'll have to ask Tony these questions.
Yes, please do. Ask Leon what she does. Good morning, Leon.
Well, we're talking about
Do you like
it
your
in
French
terms of
toast now?
three principal aspects. So perhaps those kind of contemplations are in the emptiness category.
So, yes,
And then bodhicitta, we're not analyzing sentient beings, how they exist. We're trying to develop affection and a wish to attain enlightenment so we can help others do the same. So we're not, when we do that, we don't analyze the existence.
The 3 levels.
we don't analyze what?
If we're meditating on bodhicitta, do we also analyze how things exist?
So you can, when you say meditating on bodhicitta, are you talking about generating bodhicitta?
Yes.
And you're working towards recognizing the kindness of others, and you're working thereby towards assuming the responsibility of working towards being able to effectively help others? And in order to effectively help others, we have to work at diminishing this ego, which is the cause of all our suffering, and it is the ignorance that prevents us from attaining the state where we can really effectively help others.
I think what I'm asking is that sometimes these contemplations can be fairly disorienting. We might start to question our everyday perceptions, which is not always safe.
Let it go for a few minutes, then come back. Of course, that's exactly it. But don't be fooled alone. Yeah. Tell a joke, something, but stay on it.
So, if in the process you get scared, where is the me? There is a story of when Tsongkhapa was teaching emptiness, and one of his students, as he was engaging in the meditation, looking for self, grabbed this. And Tsongkhapa said, he is establishing conventional existence. He's making sure that there is conventional existence.
No. And that, it's a nice story.
So, thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Oh, news from the front.
3 jewels: Nicholas Snow, Robert Stern, Tom Stoppard, and Slavik Rosenfeld.
The playwright.
The Sutra of the Recollection of the Noble 3 Jewels. I prostrate to the Omniscient. Thus the Buddha, Bhagavat, Tathagata, Arhat, Samyak Sambuddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world,
the cherished spirit and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher who lives in humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strength cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of Nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He is not stained by the realm of desire. He is not stained by the realm of form. He is not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from skandhas. He is not possessed with houses. His lifetimes are controlled. He has completely cut knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats who arise in the past, present, and the future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells in the movie where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavat teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight of the wise. The Dharma which is taught by the Bhagavat is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy. It is trustworthy, and it puts an end to the journey. As completely, they enter insightfully, they enter straightforwardly, they enter harmoniously, they are worthy of veneration with joined palms, they are worthy of receiving prostration, they are a field of glorious merit, they are completely capable of receiving all gifts, they are an object of generosity, they are a great object of complete generosity, the protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata, pure the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous liberating from lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the wishes are inconceivable. May they be born in completely pure welcome.
8 verses on training the mind. With the determination to accomplish
the highest welfare of all sentient beings, whose capacity knows which shining jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as the stirring emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings and those oppressed by strong disease and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When one whom I have benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my others. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as light illusions, be released from the bondage of attachment.
Prayer for the swift return of Chungla Rinpoche. Exalted wisdom
of all creatures gathered in a drop, so refuge manifest in the form of one wearing saffron robes. Guru please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast waves of aspirational prayers. Lord, speech of the Victor Loson's teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and praxis. The holy commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in unsurpassed great awakening. Yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves for other purposes. Is that worthy of the supreme among beings who possess classes? Though impossible for you to so sickly existence end, to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Brahmanakai to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forward by those who have drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached far the bliss of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings, and wish-fulfilling jewel, return as the glory of Losang Tenrei. Magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakala, Mahayana, and Srimati Devi, and the ocean of Dharma protectors, may you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation fresh in my face. Thank you very much.
So we will have class on Wednesday in South Orange, New Jersey, at 7 o'clock in the evening. And then this next Saturday we do not have Tara, it's the Saturday afterwards. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.